Galactic West Valley. And to help you get an idea of where it's at in Valley Fair Mall, we're very close to JCPenney. Down that hallway is Ulta, and used to be Bed Bath & Beyond. And so we're in the northern end of the mall. And so let's go on a tour. Of course, right now the mall is closed, but I just barely had my last customers leave. So we'll start on the right side here and work our way around. So right up the front we have the duck catcher, but we have something that's one of our most popular games. That's Cruis'n Blast by Rothreels and Nintendo. Of course, this will be out on the Nintendo Switch in the middle of September. But with the arcade version, you always have real controls, at least. And it also has a camera system, surround sound, all that stuff. But of course, the Switch port has a lot more content. Here's something that's not coming to home console by any knowledge that I have, and that's Maximum Tune 5 by Bandai Namco Amusements. So obviously the fifth in the series, but this one has tons of content packed into it, from the story mode, online ghost battles, the Japan Challenge, time attack, all that stuff. Of course, this also has the realistic driving controls and everybody's favorite, the stick shifter, which some like to get a little too rough with. And this one also has the kiosk for Bena passports, where that allows you to save your data, save your progress on there. And Cruis'n does have a save system, but nobody uses it really. It's just the pin that you see right there. Oops, and that's all blurry. But the cards, we have them for $5, and that allows you to build your fleet of cars. And unfortunately, our lights on the top don't work there. Here in the middle, we have our coin orbiter. So something that's fitting with the Galactic name. Not really interactive, but you know, it works. We have The Walking Dead by Rothreels, another arcade exclusive. Shoot zombies in the head using your unique crossbow controllers. Hold the handle back to reload. It also has this light feedback mechanism, and of course surround sound. And then also by Rothreels, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is a 4-player beat-em-up where you run along and beat the crap out of the foot. Use your turtle power and all that. Pretty easy to control. Joystick controls, buttons, all that stuff. So in some ways, like the Konami beat-em-ups of the 90s, but with the newer turtles from Nickelodeon. And another from Rothreels, and one of our most popular games, week in, week out. That's Jurassic Park. I need to figure out why T-Rex doesn't light up anymore. That's they got the standard dino blasting action that everybody enjoys, and not much has to be said. It's shooting dinosaurs. Never gets old. And then flipping over here to Pinball. Here's our latest acquisition in Pinball, the Mandalorian. This is the Pro model. We did have the Stranger Things Premium, but somebody offered us this game, as well as Austin Powers, and one other thing in trade, and that was hard to pass up, so we went for it. But yeah, we tried it out. Very fun game, and it's updated to the latest code. We also have the Addams Family pinball with LEDs installed to the inserts and a color DMD using the LED model. And so this one also is a timeless classic. I just love it. Need to do some things to fix up Austin Powers. I've fixed a couple of things, like the light there. I think there's a little bit more to do on that, including figuring out how to get this thing to work, the cannon. One of our most popular pinball machines, for good reason.
I gotta slip the mayor once to rattles me about some things.
Ghostbusters, and this is also a Pro model. Just can't see a lot of that there because of the reflection of the glass. And then a classic Space Shuttle. And this one, if you've never played a pinball machine from the 1980s, well, here you go. This is from 1984. Has a lot of classic game sounds built into it. Also has a little hint at Bally Midway. This is the Defender space shuttle. So just a little nod to Defender, the Williams video game that Eugene Jarvis designed. We have Johnny Mnemonic, which if you've never seen that movie before, well, it's definitely cyberpunk. That's where Keanu Reeves got his cyberpunk cred from, I guess you could say. Interesting game overall, and one that was off due to a little issue is Dirty Harry. It's been having a resetting problem. This is a fun one. If you've never come across it, then it's a lot of fun to use the movable gun cannon. We have another classic, Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So we've had a lot of people getting into this one lately. It's just really good. Steve Ritchie, he has the chrome flippers. Like this and Dirty Harry have the guns for launching the pinball instead of the typical plunger. And then this one, I wasn't expecting it to be here. This one isn't ours. A few of these right here, these games right here aren't ours. But Kelly from Utah Pinball dropped off a Family Guy here last Stern Army competition event we had, and he's left it here for now. So I'm not sure how long it'll be here. Any of these that aren't ours could go at any time, but it's also been a fun, popular one. Aha! And then we have Allied Tank Attack. This is an arcade exclusive original game. Has no licensing on it at all. It's a air motion seat. I think there might be a couple of minor issues with this one that I gotta figure out, but I haven't had any luck getting a hold of the developers yet. We have Assault by Atari Games and Namco, and so this was a very early, it was 1988, but it was an early example of the giant sprite rotation tech that was popularized as Mode 7 on the SNES. We got Blazing Angels, and while this one technically isn't exclusive, they changed a lot about this gameplay to make it unique to arcades. And of course you have the controls and everything. Unfortunately, the feedback of getting shot where it would thump the seat really hard doesn't work anymore. It hasn't worked in years, and every time I tried to fix it, it would just burn out almost immediately, so I got tired of wasting the money. But still a very, very fun game, as is Taito's Chase HQ2. And this one is an arcade exclusive, still has the old CRT in it, knock on wood. And this one is a sequel to an 80s game where your goal was to chase down criminals and smash their cars until the cars wouldn't drive anymore. So if you've never tried that, it's another rarity that we have, and fun. And here we have our classic corner with some classics with names that you know and love, such as Miss Pac-Man by Namco and Midway. And we have Donkey Kong by Nintendo. Yeah, I gotta fix the light up top. We have Namco Classic Collection, which offers Pac-Man Rally X and Dig Dug, but it also offers some rearranged, remixed versions of each game, and they're very unique. I believe those were released on like the PS2 and Namco Museum PS2 at one point, but not very well known. There's a game that has a known name, but a lot of people don't know that this arcade version exists. It's Pitfall 2: The Lost Caverns, where Sega completely redesigned it for arcade play. There's a lot of elements that are still similar to the Atari versions and the other home versions, but the graphics are completely different, and it has some other changes to it. It's a tough game, but it's fun. I like it. And then this one, which I don't have a marquee for at the moment, we have Armed Police Bat Rider by Rising, and great little track mode that it has here. But that one also doesn't get a ton of attention like it probably should. Back here we have some games that are down at the moment. And back here we have some games that are down at the moment, working to get them fixed, although JPO and SLC does work. I guess it got turned off for some reason. And we have NBA Hoops. We also have a problem with the gate on this other one, so I need to figure that out. I've been trying, but some of the bolts don't want to move. But if you want to shoot hoops, this is a great way to do it. We have Strikers 1945 2, which sometimes has a bluish screen. While the marquee says just Strikers 1945, I did put the sequel in here, which is better than the first one. A lot of fun here in the shoot 'em up games. And a racer that's not very well known, Redline Rampage Gas Guzzlers by Global VR. This is a racing combat game, so it does okay. And we got our Air Ride Air Hockey back here, and our Foosball World Tour. Now I'll go over to the center post here and go around to cover the fighters in a moment. At the moment we have Cosmotrons, so we were intending on, this was up at our Ogden location, we were intending on taking it to another place that we have that's a private facility, but they've pushed back their opening date due to the Delta surge, and so it's at West Valley for now, so come and enjoy this unique and very rare multiplayer space combat game. It's a lot of fun, especially with friends. And speaking of 4-player games, we have Dungeons & Dragons Tower of Doom by Capcom. Unfortunately, the sound is out on this one. I need to figure out how to get that fixed so you can enjoy the sounds of dungeon slashing again. We have Sega's Afterburner, a real nice classic, Afterburner 2, but it comes with this awesome little joystick, the kind of thing you see too often anymore. Bubble Bobble 3, yes, I made this marquee myself, so yeah, it's homemade. But that's because there isn't a marquee that exists for this game, and so we just bought the game board from Japan and have had it in this Joyro cabinet, which is a Korean handicap, but looks great. But I also think there might be a sound issue with that one. Here's another super rarity. As far as I know, only 4 of these exist on the planet. There might be a couple more, but there's not many. And that's the Spectre Files Death Stalker. And so this was a Laserdisc game that was restored and remastered in HD by Brian Collin. So that was the developer. He's the same guy who developed titles like Rampage. But this one, it's very different from your normal arcade game. Very unique. The controls are, you only have to make choices, so it's like a choose-your-own-adventure game. But I haven't had a lot of people play this one lately. And same with The Act, an interactive comedy. So this is one of my first games that I had, and this is also super rare because it was never released. They only made 40 kits and 2 dedicated cabinets, so only 42 of them exist out there. And yeah, it's very, very difficult to come across. Unfortunately, I've never been able to keep the spinner working. It burns out all the time when you install a new one, so I just kept the trackball. Then we have Hot Racers by Sega. So this is a game for kids. If you have little kids, then this one's perfect for them. There's no gas pedal, and so you can choose a car or a motorcycle, and the gameplay is kind of like a very kidified version of Mario Kart. So there's pickups and speeds. I think you call them bumps, and there's obstacles and whatnot, but obviously it's not exactly like Mario Kart. And then we have the awesome Star Wars Trilogy arcade by Sega. It's a joystick, and this is one of my favorites back in the day. It still holds up today. I mean, obviously the graphics don't look as great as they did back in 1998, but the gameplay is still fun. As is Knights of the Round, which is a game that just doesn't get a lot of attention, but it's a lot of fun. You're King Arthur, or one of his knights of the round table in a quest to recover the Holy Grail, but it's a beat 'em up game, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, The Simpsons, or Ninja Turtles. You just all have swords and axes and stuff, so this one's fun. Give it a try if you have it. And then speaking of The Simpsons, we have that here too. And this one is a great Konami classic, great example of what an arcade beat 'em up should be. Of course, that's now available on Arcade 1-Up, so that takes another feather from our cap. We have Primal Rage, but I've been having trouble getting this cabinet to work. I think it's a power problem, but I tried a new power supply, it didn't work, so I'm not 100% sure. We have Super Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and this is the Japanese version, so I think that was just X, yeah, Super Street Fighter 2 X. Yeah, I do need to get a new monitor in there because the green on this just doesn't work. And we have Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, which has seen a lot more interest after the recent Mortal Kombat movie. But either way, two great classics. We also have Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which if you're into Marvel vs. Capcom, it's a great option to play. And here's our Neo Geo. Yeah, I need to get a new LED update for this and fix that, but this has 4 games in it. And here's the rare and obscure Breaker's Revenge, which is a lot like Street Fighter 2 in its gameplay, but it does have a couple of elements to it. I think the main element is dashing or something along those lines that I think kind of works like a parry. So it's almost like a Street Fighter 3, but it's a lot of fun, just a lot of people don't know it, so they don't give it a try. Other games we have, as soon as it shows, King of Fighters 98, one of the most popular options on here. Never gets old, but we do have had people asking for 2002. May see about that again sometime soon. We have Ultimate 11. So for anybody into soccer that plays foosball, you can also play video soccer, or football. And then we have Metal Slug 2 in here, which is also a good one. Yeah, I should get Metal Slug 3, but people seem to have been fine with 2. And then something that's similar to the Neo Geo. In fact, one of the guy who was the CEO of SNK USA back when this machine was released in 1990, he now works for this company, and that is exA-Arcadia. So they're a relatively new company out of Japan, and they've been releasing a lot of games for this platform. It also holds up to 4 games at once. And so right now, where you have Metal Slug 2 in the NBS, there's a Metal Slug sort of like game here called Blazing Chrome AC. Although I guess it's also a bit like Contra, but there's also some characters that are just melee, and so when you play as a melee character, it's almost like Strider. So it's like 3 games in one. It's a lot of fun, and it also works for 2 players at once. And also have the remake of Gimmick Exact Mix, which is exclusive to the exA-Arcadia platform, and this was a very obscure NES game that was released back in 1992 by Sunsoft. They're the creators of games like Master Blaster. But not a lot of people know about this particular game just because it didn't see a big wide release in the States back in 1992, and it's a little bit tough. But if you like platformers and you like games that present a challenge, this one is really good, really fun, and it's cute. And then for fighters, the 2 other games on this are fighting games. So we have the Kung Fu vs. Karate Champ, where you have movie characters or caricatures from Kung Fu movies of ages past that you can fight against each other. And so a moment ago it was showing like Jackie Chan, there's a Chuck Norris-like character, a Bruce Lee-like character, and some others that are in there. So that one, it's unique and it's fun, so definitely give it a try. There was Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris for a second there. And then our 4th game on here is another fighting game. This is a 2D fighting game called Chaos Code Exact Xeno Attack. And so this one is a little bit more like I don't know, maybe like Blaze Blue or King of Fighters than the Kung Fu versus Karate Champ is. And so it's definitely, if you're into fighting games, especially 2D fighting games, and you want something that's in high def, then that's one way to go. And all these games are in 4K, so we have a 4K gaming TV on there and proper arcade controls as well. And so if you're a hardcore gamer, give that one a try. And so we've covered all that part. We have our DDR Extreme. Yeah, I know the marquee doesn't say that, but that's what the software is in it right now. And we've been working at getting this one to work correctly, and haven't had any issues as of late, as of the past week or so. And so that one's been fun. It's DDR, you know what it is. Then we have Galaga Salt by Bandai Namco and Raw Thrills. And this is an HD remake of the classic Galaga, but they added some elements. So like if you put in extra coins, you can buy more ships. And there's also a bomb mechanic that shows up every once in a while. But other than that, it's exactly like Galaga. Now, a lot of arcades that have this particular game, they have it as a ticket redemption game where it's very short, very shallow, but since we don't do ticket redemption, this is the full game. So there's 70 levels to play, and some people have managed to get that high, such as FND and whoever HHHHHH is. But one other unique thing about this one is it uses an ultra-wide screen, which sometimes people have that in their home or their office, but it's been pretty rare to find used in arcades, but this game has it. And I also need to figure out why the marquee won't work on there. We have Big Buck Hunter Reloaded, so this is a release from last year, and it has Big Buck Hunter in HD, but it also comes with things like Terminator Salvation, a new version of that, Monsters of Lost Island, and the Doe of the Dead, a zombie shooting game that has a lot of humor to it. And so a lot of people know what Big Buck Hunter is, but they may not always realize that there's a lot of other games built into this. So it's almost like the exA-Arcadia, but just for light guns, or pump action shotguns. We have Aliens Armageddon, and so this is another arcade exclusive. She mentioned, yeah, a lot of these things have been arcade exclusives. And even the exa over there, all the games, even if they have a console port, there are exclusive elements to them that make them unique. But that's definitely the case with this one, which is often a popular one, and I need to see if I can get a direct capture of this to work sometime. I've tried before, but it hasn't always worked. This uses the same kind of guns that Terminator Salvation Arcade used, and just slightly modified, don't come with the straps. And then here's another exclusive and original game. So obviously there's no license behind Outnumbered, but this one is unique by LAI Games, and it uses an app where you can craft your weapons and track your progress, see how you do, how you stack up against others around the world. And it's target practice across themed levels, and so it plays like a standard light gun game where you're going along the different rails, but instead of like Aliens, you're shooting the certain targets, and there's different difficulty levels as well. So that's a unique one that we got not too long ago. Definitely check it out, and people love this, that it fires the gun even when it's in a track mode. And then we're almost to the end here, and this is also one of our latest video acquisitions, and this is Minecraft Dungeons Arcade. And so this is a unique version of Minecraft or Minecraft Dungeons, sorry, that is different from the home versions. And so while the home version plays more like, say, Diablo, this plays more like Gauntlet Legends. And so if you don't know the difference between those two, well, they're different. And so this has 9 levels on it, and it has some unique enemies in there. You can play 4 people at the same time. But the most unique aspect of this is that you get a card. It has 60 collectible cards that you get, and we have a poster which talks about that here too, showing off all the different cards. And And so you can get those, collect them, sell them, whatever, and you use them to craft your characters in the game by scanning it right there, and then it changes something about your character. And then, of course, we have some fabulous prizes that you can maybe win out of the merchandisers here up front. But yeah, that is Arcade Galactic West Valley. I will also do a tour of our Ogden location here soon. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. And if you're anywhere in Utah, be sure to stop by and check us out. Thanks, and we'll see you later.